Welcome to the Diabetes Revolution podcast with Dr. Sarah Townley, the type 2 diabetes coach, clinical pharmacist, and mom of 6 angels. You don't have to struggle and fight with your blood sugars for the rest of your life. I'm here to teach you the skills you need to control and even reverse this disease. There is such a thing as getting off your meds and creating a future free from diabetes, and you can have it too. Let's get down to business. Hey, it's Sarah, and I'm back with you guys today to teach you an amazing tool. But before I get started, I just want to tell you what's up. I am loving this podcast already. I have a never-ending well of stuff to teach you. I have a long list, so many episodes to come. I can't even tell you how happy I am I decided to do this. And if you are already loving it, it would help me out a lot and help your fellow friends out too, for you to just in iTunes review and rate this podcast. It would mean a lot to me if you would stop and do that right now. If you don't have iTunes and you're listening from another directory, you can just skip that part. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you're in another platform. But if you're in iTunes, a review would be amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so today I want to give you probably one of the most important tools I could ever teach you. I used to teach all my patients this when I worked in clinic. Because remember, I was the medication expert in a clinic that I worked in for 8 years, and I became extremely skilled at using medications to drive that blood sugar down, except in some people where it seemed like nothing was going to help. But most of the time, I could crank them up, and we could get some better numbers. But I began to learn and be very aware that the real solution was not medications, right? The real solution was addressing what was causing the problem. And so when I learned how to do that, I knew that this was what I was meant to do. So I left my clinic and I just started doing this all the time because it really lights me up. It lights me up to help you in your day-to-day life take back control of your health, stop terrorizing yourself and fearing the future, and get in the driver's seat again. And create a body that is healthy and thriving again. Okay, so this tool I'm going to teach you is called Eating to Your Meter. You might have heard of it before, but if you haven't, no biggie. It's just a name, and it's really just a technique, and it's extremely simple, which is freaking awesome. I love simple, powerful tools, and I love empowering tools, right? Tools that help you make decisions right now. And this tool is the tool you're going to be reaching for when you're asking this question. Is this food or drink good for me? I ran a Facebook group and I still am very active in some Facebook groups. And by and large, this is one of the most common questions that people come and post on these groups. Is this product good for me? Okay, so it might be like a supplement like berberine or Curelin, something like that. It might be a protein shake or like a, protein bar. Could be a low-carb tortilla or a certain kind of fruit or an alcoholic beverage, right? There's a endless number of foods and beverages that you might wonder this question, is this good for me? Should I eat this or drink this? Is this going to be a problem for me? And of course, it is valuable to know what other people's experiences are. It sometimes helps us know, right, before we take the risk or whatever of trying something new. But what I want to offer you is that you don't ever need to ask anybody except your body. Okay, your body is always going to know better than anybody else what it does and does not like. Your body is unique, and so what someone else's body does or how someone else's body responds to, for example, a sweet potato could be very different from how your body responds to a sweet potato. And there's just freaking confusing anymore. There's so many different conflicting sources of information on the web and amongst your peers about what is good or what isn't good and what kind of diet you should follow and whether or not you can eat this kind of carb or that kind of carb and what's a resistant starch. And it's just overwhelming. And so if you really want to simplify your life, you could stop asking all these people who don't know you and don't have your body what's best for your body by just eating to your meter. Okay, so I hope you can get a kind of a clue right now about what I'm talking about and why this is a valuable thing for you to try in your own life. The only thing you need in order to practice this technique is a blood sugar monitor. Okay, that's it. And most of you already have that. If you don't have that, no problem. You can buy one at any store. There is a lot of question about what kind of meter is the best kind of meter. And I have to tell you, as a pharmacist practicing for 15 plus years, working with lots of different patients, it really didn't seem like there was a clear winner of what kind of brand was best. And what kind of, what sometimes is just accessible for a person is what's best. And I kind of like the idea of just buying a Walmart Rely On meter for $8, or if you want a fancier one, $14. And then buying those test strips that cost, $8 or $9 for $50, and just stashing them everywhere that's convenient. Maybe you want a meter at work or a meter in your car or a meter by your bedside. Like, you could have multiple meters, and this is nice. And the test strips are dirt cheap, right? But maybe you have access to nice expensive meters, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't want you to believe that if you can't afford One Touch or AccuCheck, like, it's not a problem, okay? However, I will just slip in that by and large, my favorite kind of meter is a continuous glucose monitor, okay? What is that? That is just a monitor that continuously checks your blood sugar. You have access to data real time, anytime, what's going on with your blood sugar. And what's cool about these is that they don't just tell you what your blood sugar is right now. They will tell you what direction it's moving in and how quickly. And they will track that data for you and give you some pretty awesome reports. So the kinds that most people will have when it comes to a continuous glucose monitor is going to be a Freestyle Libre, which is available with prescription to most people. And some insurances cover it, some not, but for a lot of people, cash is still affordable. It's like $40-$50 a sensor that lasts for 2 weeks. And also, if you're on insulin, a lot of people will qualify for a Dexcom, and G6 is the newest model as far as I know. And these are just much more expensive and sometimes require a distributor, so you can't just get it from your pharmacy. So continuous glucose monitors are fantastic because at any point in time, you can check to see how your blood sugar is responding to anything, activity, stress, food, whatever it is. And it just gives you the information you need to learn about your body at just a hyper speed, right? Like, as much as you're interested or curious about what your body's doing, you're going to learn a lot faster. And so I always love it when my clients have a Freestyle Libre. Okay, or a Dexcom. Okay, so let's just get down to the technique. Eating to your meter is super simple. What you want to know is what your blood sugar is before you test the food or the beverage. Okay, so you check before you consume. Then you go ahead right away and consume the product you're testing. Okay, and then you're going to check again at 1 hour, and you're going to check again at 2 hours. See, what you're looking for is the peak blood sugar in response to ingesting the test item. Some things are easy to break down and your body can absorb them a lot faster, and some things are more difficult for your body to absorb because, it's complex. It has a lot of proteins and fats mixed in, or maybe it has a lot of fiber in it, and so it just might be harder for your body to break it down and extract the nutrient, but you're looking for the peak. And so I suggest checking at 1 and 2 hours to make sure you find it. So what you're going to know when you do this technique is how high did your blood sugar rise in response to said test item. And my recommendation is to identify, limit, or restrict items and portions that raise your blood sugar more than 20 to 25 points. Okay? Why is that? Because whatever direction your blood sugar is going is the direction that insulin is going to follow. And this is a disease that is impacted by insulin resistance, right? It's created by insulin resistance. And so you really don't want to be feeding your insulin resistance by asking your body to need more insulin. And so if you limit and you minimize the amount of blood sugar rise from your foods, you won't need as much insulin in your body, and it gives you the opportunity to keep your insulin low enough that you can access body fat and that you can reverse insulin resistance. So some of you might be thinking, well, say some cuss words maybe. My blood sugar always goes up way, way high after I eat anything. Okay, some of you might think it doesn't matter what I do. My blood sugar is always really high. And I just want to tell you, you're not alone, okay? But you also may not be making informed choices, okay? So one of my missions and one of the objectives I have for this podcast is to help you equip yourself with the knowledge that you can start to make strategic choices. Create a strategic food plan that will reverse insulin resistance. Now, if you want the good stuff and the complete story, please remember, you can join my membership right now and get access to all that information. You don't have to pick through podcasts or try to piece it together from other sources. You can get that right now. So don't forget that you can go straight to my website and join and get that information today if you really want it. But I just want to encourage you that if you're a person who feels like you don't even want to check your blood sugar because it's always going sky high whenever you eat, I want to encourage you that you just don't know. You didn't know what to eat or not eat. And you know what? Eating to your meter could be one of the best things that you ever did because it will teach you what your body does and does not respond well to. Okay, so I hope that is a valuable tool for you. I can't wait for you to apply it and start to learn from your body what it does and does not like. And I will see you in the next podcast. High five for tuning in with me today. You are getting smarter and stronger when you show up for yourself this way. You can get more free tools to help you control type 2 diabetes on my website, sarahtownley.com. And if you're serious about ending your struggle with diabetes, join my membership, The Diabetes Revolution, where you work with me in a community of people just like you. See you on the next episode.